Hey y'all, it is February the 28th, 2023, and yesterday we took some time out from our hiatus, and yeah, I'm still on a hiatus. The hiatus continues, but we took a little bit of time out yesterday to break down a Twitter thread by some unfortunate lady who, God bless her, a psychologist type, selling books, talking about her expertise on men, right? Uh, Especially in regards to the idea of Mr. Nice Guy. If you ever heard of that, most people have heard of that phrase, Mr. Nice Guy. The phrase nice guys finish last comes to mind. Everybody's heard that phrase, right? And of course, it could mean a lot of different things, but mostly it's in regards to ladies. And certainly in the world of ladies, nice guys certainly do finish last. I was a little bit taken aback by the popularity, actually. I mean, it's just a random video I put up during my hiatus and um, wound up being kind of popular. As it turns out, there's people on the internet who are quite curious about what it is to be a Mr. Nice Guy, and why you definitely shouldn't be a Mr. Nice Guy, and it's actually highly dysfunctional, and it's actually not good for results. All right, you're not gonna get many benefits from being a Mr. Nice Guy, but there's reasons why they do it out there. Obviously, men out there. We plan to see things. We didn't really dive into what is a Mr. Nice Guy. We'll probably do that in a subsequent video. All right, what is a Mr. Nice Guy, and why exactly you shouldn't be a Mr. Nice Guy, and how exactly you're being trained from day one as a little baby boy to be a Mr. Nice Guy, all despite the fact that it's no good for you and it's not going to get you nowhere. All right. You're led to believe it's going to get you somewhere. It ain't going to get you nowhere. And I don't know how much beating your head on the wall it's going to take to figure it out for some guys out there. Some guys figure it out the hard way. And sometimes you got to learn through experience why you should never, ever be Mr. Nice Guy. All right. We're probably going to talk about that more so in a different video. But in the meantime, the whole topic was brought up by a friend of mine who had shown me the Twitter thread of some psychologist lady, God bless her, who really honestly had no idea what she was talking about. And in fact, failed to describe what most people recognize as a Mr. Nice Guy type. In fact, she described something completely random, it seemed, all right? And she was very confused. And it led me to see, I mean, the thing is, I already had some idea, but it just blows my mind how many people out there are suffering from the same confusion. And in fact, who knows how long I was confused. Most of my life was I confused about why you shouldn't be a Mr. Nice Guy. We're going to talk about that later. But in the meantime, my good friend actually brought up this book. She said she read this book a long time ago, and it changed her life. All right, and I have no idea about the book. It's written by Dr. Warren Farrell, and it's called "Why Men Are the Way They Are." I can't speak about the book because I have no idea what it's about. All right. I mean, I can imagine it's about why men are the way they are, but I don't know the explanation. I don't know the questions being asked in this book necessarily. So I can't exactly judge it or anything like that. But in the meantime, We got a preview up here. I was sent a link to this exact page with a preview to the book. Not only that, there's a list right here of bullet points and questions that are, I would assume, asked in the book and likely answered in the same book. All right. So with that in mind, I just real quick wanted to make a video um, asking these questions on these bullet points and seeing if we can't answer them right quick. And I also am curious to see if our answers have any sort of similarity to the answers that can be found in this book. Like, I don't have time to read this book, but of course, I'm asking my friend if they're at all similar. Are they similar answers or not? And I'm really quite curious. All right, so look at this. Why are men the way they are? A lot of people might be curious, why are men are the way they are? And that's what women don't know about men, is why men are the way they are. And why is that? Why men are the way they are and men don't know about themselves why they are the way they are. All right? Because there's women out there asking why men are the way they are, and also there's men asking why is it the way that I am and stuff. Nobody can figure it out. Nobody can figure it out, even though it's shockingly simple. All right, and I'm going to show you just how simple it is. Its author started more than 300 men and women's groups. That's a lot of groups. I gotta admit, I never started one group. All right, I'm still trying to start a rock group, dude. And so starting 300 groups, I gotta say, it's pretty impressive. Joined by men from John Lennon. John Lennon was in a group. He was in the Beatles, but he was in another group formed by this guy, Dr. Warren Farrell. So you got to imagine, people who's famous know this guy. Oprah Winfrey said, Why Men Are is one terrific book. That's Oprah Winfrey, right? The New York Post calls it the most important book ever written about love, sex, and intimacy. And this book obviously was written before 50 Shades of Grey, which I'm sure is the new #1. All right? So it's probably an older book. You'll want to read Why Men Are the Way They Are if you've ever asked these questions. This is where it sparked my curiosity. If you've ever asked these questions, if you ever in your life have asked these questions, you're going to want to read this book. Now, like I said, I don't have time to read this book. All right, but I am quite curious and I want to know, because it's an older book and perhaps it has the same exact answers to these questions that are about to be posed. All right, so if you ever asked any of these questions, you probably want to get this book. But right while you're here right now today, we're going to take some time out and ask these questions. Not only ask them, but we're going to answer them. All right, real quick. All right, as quick as we can. These 8 questions about a man. All right, have you ever asked are you a lady? Right? Or do you know if you're a lady or not? All right, some people out there are ladies and some people aren't. But okay, are you a lady? You want to read Why Our Men Are the Way They Are if you've ever asked any of these 8 questions. All right, question number 1. How can I get him to express his feelings before he becomes angry? Now, you're going to get mad at me. All right? I want to give you forewarning. See, I just want to give you a real brief answer and the best answer I could possibly give. How can I get him to express his feelings before becoming angry? He probably, I'm just speaking in likelihood, he's probably getting angry because you keep asking him about his feelings and to express them. That's likely why he's getting angry. Right? So you don't want to make him angry, but you do want to ask him about his feelings. What's the best way to do it? Make him a sandwich. And I swear, like when I say make him a sandwich, all sort of people are going to hear those words and automatically think I'm a misogynist and automatically think that I hate women and I hate my mom and I hate all women and I just totally despise women when I say, well, okay, if you want something from a man, if you go ahead and make him a sandwich before you ask him all these questions, you're going to be way better off, all right? You might get what you want. All right, so why are men that I'm attracted to, and this is a lady asking, why are men that I'm attracted to the most difficult to get along with? Are you a lady? And if you ever asked this question, why are men that I'm attracted to the most difficult to get along with? Here's the answer. You are difficult to get along with. And I'm not trying to hate on you, but you're asking the wrong question. And you're deliberately asking the wrong question. You're difficult to get along with. And that's why all the men that you're attracted to are difficult to get along with. Why are men so afraid of commitment? Now, the thing is, Dr. Warren, I got to say I'm impressed. I am impressed because women are going to ask these questions. And this is exactly how they're going to ask them to. Why are men so afraid of commitment? The actual real question that you should be asking is, why are men so, quote, afraid of commitment to me? All right? Because here's the thing, they're not afraid of commitment. There's no man who is afraid of commitment. All right? He might, I don't know, men will tell you anything, but deep down inside, there is no man who is afraid of commitment. The answer is he does not want commitment. And the longer answer is he certainly does not want to commit to you. And then it might even go further. A lady might ask, well, why doesn't he want to commit to me? But yeah, he still keeps me around. It's because he's getting something from you and you're giving it to him and he's still not going to commit to you and you're being played. All right. If you want to know the real truth, all right. Let's ask these questions. Why do so many men have so few men friends? All right. Real briefly, it's quite simple. Men are quite simple, come to think of it. Why do men have so few men friends? The reason is because we go to work every day and we don't got time to just hang out with every Tom, Dick, and Harry and have like 100 friends that we hang out with all day. As it turns out, we have things to do. All right, we have so many things to do that we might have 2 or 3 friends, and that's it. We don't have time for anything else. Where do you think we're gonna get more time from? All right, I don't know what lady's asking this questions. Why do men have so few men friends? We don't have time for that. You serious asking all these questions? Can you please make me a sandwich? All right, anyways, why are men so preoccupied with sports? It's kind of a loaded question because not all men are preoccupied with sports. Okay? But in general, men get preoccupied with sports because it's like a simulation of battle, if you will. One competitor against another one who's going to physically conquer through their prowess over their opponent, and we want to find out who. And the second part of that answer is that is to distract us away from you and all your dang questions, all right? Because we actually don't want to answer all these questions, actually. The next question is, why can't a man be a friend before a sex partner. Okay? I don't know what the book has to say, but the reason for this is that if a man tries to be a friend before a sex partner, then more often than not, what's going to happen is he'll be put in the friend zone and he'll never get out of the friend zone and he will never get a sex partner. And that's a stupid question. And he can't tell you that your questions are stupid, even though they kind of are sometimes. Right? I mean, that's the thing. Can you imagine taking the risk? Oh, let me really just try to be this lady's friend before being her sex partner, and let me see if I can't spend all sort of money on her and be tucked into the friend zone and patted on my head. Let's see if I can't do that and see if that's successful. All right, that's a dumb question. Okay, and then the last question, last but not least, why are men such jerks? And all these questions are actually loaded. The thing is, I can't blame Dr. Warren because these are brilliant questions that he's posing. And he's posing them exactly how women would ask them. So I don't know what he says in the book, but the question is, why are men such jerks? And again, men are such jerks because you keep asking constant questions from them. All right? And eventually they had to kind of like get you to, or at least try to get you to stop asking so many questions. And this is why they're jerks. And not only that, y'all ladies be chasing the bad boys because you just can't help it. All right. The real question is, why are you attracted to men who are such jerks? And then furthermore, why do you keep asking all these questions and forcing a man to be a jerk to you because you're getting annoying with all these questions? And I'm not saying that because I hate women. These are the real answers. You're asking questions. Stop asking questions because eventually you're going to get the real answers. And those are the real answers, right? More or less. Now, these are 7 questions about women as posed by men. And I want to see if I can answer these as well. Why do women say they'd like to hear my feelings, but then withdraw when they hear of my feelings? Now, men might legitimately be asking this because a lot of men have been posed with this situation in particular, where a woman approaches them. I would imagine a girlfriend, and she begs and she pleads and she whines and cries about she wants to know his feelings. I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know what the spectrum of emotion that you're experiencing today, and why won't you just open up? Why won't you just open up to me about your feelings and just get vulnerable with me? All right. It's psychological. It's kind of deep, and it's not always very easy to understand. In fact, a lot of men will make the mistake of telling their feelings to a lady, and then and then she withdraws. All right, and she's always gonna withdraw after. Okay, so I want to explain. In the lady's conscious mind, it's turning like a wheel, just constantly spinning, and she's coming up with all sort of questions because she can't help it. In her conscious mind, she's thinking, I want to know his feelings. I want to know all his feelings and all his emotions. Okay? So she finally gets you to talk about them. All right? Then if you do talk about them, it's going to then enter her subconscious mind or her hindbrain. And in her subconscious mind, she's going to instantly and inevitably lose attraction for you. Why? Because you failed the test, buddy. She's always testing you subconsciously, and she can't even help it. Most times she doesn't even know it. She's always testing you to see if you'll break, to see if you'll bend, to see whether or not you're a real man. And there's probably instances in which you never ever share your feelings with her, and then eventually she gets so angry that she leaves and she says, he's cold and he's a jerk and he would never express his feelings to me, and she'll even leave. It's kind of a win-win situation. If she does leave, okay, all right. It's not really a big deal, especially when you come into the situation with that kind of mindset. It's not really a big deal if she leaves. And if she does leave, please believe she is still going to be attracted to you. She can't help but be attracted to you. Why? Because you're a man and you don't break and you don't bend. All right? And you ain't just going to like do as whatever she wants. That's why you never do it. I don't care how many times she asks. She's going to ask so many times. You never ever do it. All right. Why are men, or okay, why are women that who I'm most attracted to the most difficult to get along with? All right. The short answer is that the women who are most attractive in general are the most difficult to get along with, all right? And they're the most high maintenance, and more often than not, it's not even worth it. When on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as ladies and attractiveness goes, the ones at the tippy tip top, the tens, the nines, and the tens, they are hard to get along with. To the point is, you might as well not even try, right? And unfortunately, that's how it goes. All right, but that's why most men tend to shoot for sixes and sevens, even if they can get nines and tens. They'll settle down with sixes and sevens. Why? Because they're easier to get along with. That's why. If women are so liberated, this is a question. If they are so liberated, why do they still want me to ask them out and pay for dinner and take all sexual initiatives and call them in the morning? Why do they want all these things if they are so liberated? The short answer is they aren't so liberated in their subconscious mind. They really are not so liberated. They only think they are. And actually, they've only been trained since they were little babies on Disney fairy tale movies to think that they're so liberated, even though they aren't so liberated. You just answered your own question. They are not so liberated. And that is why you got to do all of these things, all right? Because it's traditional. So why is a woman who supports herself called a career woman, while a man who supports just himself is called a playboy? Now, this is a question that I'm pretty sure has never been asked, and I don't know what the hell this even means. All right? A man who just supports himself is called a playboy. Guess what? I support myself. Most men out there support themselves, and I don't know where this question comes from, because most men, to include myself, are not referred to as playboys. So I don't know where that came from. Why are men denied equal opportunity to the children after the divorce? Long story short, because of the law. That's how the laws are written. All right? Know that for a fact. And if you got a problem with that, then you need to seek first of all, you got to make a lot of money. Secondly, you need to seek the advice of a family attorney and have plans in order and everything else, because the laws are against you. That's why. The laws are against you, and that is why. I mean, that's a pretty dumb question, actually. If women really got less pay for equal work, why would any employer hire a man? Now that's already a kind of a dated question because um, although it has been expressed a million billion times, it'll never stop being expressed. Oh, 70 cents on the dollar. Oh, 80 cents on the dollar. Women are always they're systematically getting, it's called like a pay gap, and there's some sort of pay gap going on. It doesn't exist. And if I say it doesn't exist, just like millions of people have said before me, if we all know that it doesn't exist, then we automatically get called misogynistic. Even though it does not exist, and equal pay is going to get, if you have equal work, it is going to get you equal pay. Women don't want to admit that to themselves because they want to feel oppressed, right? For some reason. And the last question is this before I run out of battery. Why do most married women have the option to work or raise children while their husbands have the option to work or work? Now, this is like a man asking this question. This is like a frequently asked question that a man asks. And the answer is because you're supposed to be a man. And why would you even ask this question? Why don't you go to work and be a man? Right? In fact, I don't know any man who's ever asked this question. Oh, why? How come ladies get to stay home and raise my children? And oh man, I gotta go to work, and this isn't fair. This isn't fair. I gotta be a man every day, and I want to stay home in my pajamas, and I want to look after small children. It's like, you need to shut the hell up and be a man. How about it? All right? And nobody's out here calling me a misandrist because I say shut the hell up and be a man and go to work. Nobody's calling me a misandrist for that because most people don't know what misandrist even means. So for the audio version, Dr. Warren Farrell personally rewrote the book's highlights as if it were a dialogue between, say, you and him, allowing you to answer others' questions. 100% money back guarantee by the author, and I hope that still stands, but I do not really have time to read it and stuff, and I appreciate him. I wonder, like I said, how closely my answers resemble the answers in this here book, and it's the most important book that was ever written, according to the New York Post and Oprah Winfrey. All right, so it is February the 28th, 2023, and I'll holler at y'all a little bit later.